Today we're speaking with Mario Payne. He is the founder of TOAMS Financial. So get this, he has over 15 staff, but he also has many other team members as well, but they're bots in AI. He's got two different platforms, two different businesses he's going to be talking about today, and he has a military background as well. So he's been featured on many different platforms in regards to his financial, we'll say not only his literacy, but also his success through the years as well. Mario, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me. I know we're Floridians, so even though
Yeah.
it's thunderstorming where I'm at, but hopefully we're going to have a good conversation and most important, add value to people's businesses.
100%. And I mean, you're going down your list. I mean, it was such a long list here. I mean, but like you're featured on Forbes magazine, you're entrepreneur of the year. I mean, and yes, I mean, you're also in where I'm in Naples, Florida. You're in Jacksonville. I know it's a rainy day there right now, and it's a little bit humid down here in Naples. We're shooting this in July. But your success is pretty phenomenal. But I'm curious to hear a little bit more about your backstory. So your military background and maybe how that's been able to help you in your business career. And one thing as well from a previous conversation before going live here, I just love the energy that you bring into everything. So I know the listeners are going to get a lot from today's
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Well, yeah, so definitely was in Uncle Sam's army. Probably the best decision I made, and actually taking a step back, like even before the military, like kind of where I started. Like going in high school, I was in ninth grade. I was just a instigator and just talking in class, and I just interrupting people. So actually, I got kicked out of school. I got kicked out of school half my ninth grade year. So like that was my rude awakening of the real world. Like you got to listen to people, had to have discipline. You can't just be popping around doing what you want to do. And that was like my come to Jesus moment, actually. So my 10th grade year, even though I got all A's and B's, my GPA wasn't the best because I got all zeros half my ninth grade year. My 11th grade year, the same, then 12th grade year. So I ended up graduating with a 1.8 GPA. And to get into most colleges, you need a 2.0. So I had to beg like 50 different colleges to get in. I didn't get any scholarships, so that's why I joined the military. I mean, I definitely love the country. My father, I had brother-in-law in the military, but so I joined Uncle Sam's army as a reservist, and yeah, like it just taught me so much just about first off being a man. I mean, just more importantly, but then also like how to be a leader. And leaders come in many shapes and sizes, right? You can have Napoleon, who was like 5'1", that was a leader, and then you have like the tallest of the tallest, like a Hulk Hogan, that's a leader too, right? But it just kind of shows you how to work a room, how to navigate situations, and I use that in my day to day life. I mean, the discipline that they talk to you, how to lead people, how to follow, because sometimes it's better to be a follower than a leader. How to take control of a situation, how to not be stressed in situations, and all that I definitely apply day to day in my business life.
I love that. And, I was telling you a little bit about my hockey background. And I think as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest things, whether you're an athlete or you're in the military, is that one thing that it does really well is that it pushes you beyond what you think you can do. So I remember
Yeah.
there were many games where we just totally just, we stunk. And the next practice, there were many years, the coach would just bag skate us the whole time. And it's like you think
Mhm.
you're done at around the 30-minute part, but he keeps on pushing you, and then guys are puking and they keep on going and going. And and it's interesting because as an entrepreneur, there are many times where you think you're done, but it's the entrepreneurs that push past that we'll call it the pain or the threshold of giving up, and the ones that keep on going, they learn, they implement something new, and then they just go back at it over and over and over. I found that was like a critical thing, that as the entrepreneurs that made it, they all faced hardships in times
Yeah.
where they thought they were going to quit, but they pushed past that.
Yeah. Well, I would say to that point, like I think biggest reason why I'm not gonna say so successful, but I'm blessed to kind of be the person I'm at is because pushing through. Like I remember I was 27 years old. So I when I graduated, because so when the war started in 2003, I had to, leave school for a year, serve the country. Now I was a certified paper pusher. So for everybody dodging bullets, thank you guys for your service. I was in the army, but I was pushing papers. So I didn't see any action. I was over there, but I didn't see no action. But so I came back, I graduated. I did a year of insurance because I knew I wanted to be a financial advisor, but I knew as a basically 23-year-old, I can't tell a person how to invest money. Like, I mean, what am I talking about? Right. So I did a year of insurance just to kind of learn how people are, how to talk to people, how to recommend things to people, people's interactions. So I did that. So 3 years later, I started with a company called Edward Jones. Everybody knows Uncle Eddie Edward Jones. So I hit my first $100,000 mark, and it was 7 people in my training class with me in all different parts of the country, and like they hit their $100,000 mark quicker than me. But like that mental thing of $100,000 for some reason, like it just slowed them down. It was like I made it, and like when I hit the hundred
Right.
thousand dollars, I was like, oh, this all I make? Oh, if I could make 100,000 in 3 years, Lord knows 30 years from now how much I'm gonna make. So like when you're an entrepreneur, like when you hit that milestone, it's up to you to either push through or just
Oh,
get
yeah.
bigger and bigger and grow more or be stagnant. And then for the ones that don't have that discipline, like you had playing hockey, those are the ones that I don't think perform or hit their potential compared to the other ones that just kind of keep on going and keep on rocking and rolling.
Oh, it's so good. 100%. It's easy to hit that. Okay, now I'm comfortable. I put enough
Mhm.
food on the table and I'm comfortable now. What do you think it was about you that said, you know what, I want more. I want more than that. And it was you weren't, we'll say, satisfied with that because majority of other people in your class, it sounded like that it slowed them down at that point. But
Yeah.
what was it? Were there certain character traits? Was there like a desire to want to do something? What was it that made you wanna, push on past that?
Oh, I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
I'm very competitive. I mean, so in my training class, it was 16 people that started. About a half a year later, it turned into about 10 people, and you kind of saw that fall off. And then people having more success, and like I was like, man, I got to be the best. So like whatever I have to do, how much hours I have to work, how many networking events I got to go to, how much like a politician shaking hands and kissing babies I got to go to, how many free seminars I got to do, like whatever I got to do to set myself apart and grow, I'm going to do it. And I also think when I was in college, I interned at General Electric. Now, General Electric back then it was ran by Jack Welch, and people called him at the time the best CEO in out there. Of course, not anymore, of course, because GE is having their own problems. But I was part of a initiative that basically saved them money. So me and 2 other people kind of navigated their call center, where they were moving jobs from America to the Philippines, but finding ways to kind of route calls properly. So me and the 2 members, we saved the company basically $4 million. Out of $4 million, guess what we received after making again this big $1 trillion company $4 million? They gave me and my 2 other interns who interned with me a pizza party. So like right then and there, I knew a company is not going to pay me the money that I make them. Entrepreneurship and me doing it myself is going to pay me the most money. So just from an
Mm,
entrepreneur standpoint, kind of seeing how much you can make a company and how much you get back compared to if I did it myself, like that made me think doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to go wholeheartedly in entrepreneurship because I don't want to be the person making GE as now an employee millions of dollars and I'm getting, crumbs
mhm.
or having to be shipped out. Like with some managers at GE for like 13, 14 years, they had
Right,
like a choice either to stay in the call center and be demoted or stay a manager and go to the Philippines and then train individuals in the Philippines. And now, 20 years later, those jobs are probably gone. But like, I don't want to be in
right.
that situation.
Oh man, the competitive nature that you have as one of your strong motivators. It's interesting. Tony Robbins talks about these like human needs, right? There's like security, variety. There's like status, growth, love and connection, and then contribution and status. That was actually that you're very competitive, and that was actually for me as well. It was like winning an award for me, after I got security, I was able to put food on the table. Then it was like, okay, what's the next motivator for me? And that was similar to you. It was like there was this competition or status, going up on
Yeah.
stage, getting an award, and then it changed through the years as well. But it's really good, I think, as an entrepreneur if you can really hone in on. And a lot of times we do it, we don't even know we're doing it, but there's something there that's like driving us to be able to, go to that next level. And if you can kind of really hone in, if you're not motivated, you're not going at it, it's probably because you
Mhm.
don't have that strong, pull. And looking at those six human needs that I just shared with you, you might be able to find one where you're like, hey, listen, maybe there's like this charity that just lights you up. There's a kid
Yeah.
there that just like you to like move something inside of you. If you do really well, you can give back X amount to that charity. And like that could be a motivator for you. But
Yeah.
what advice would you have for maybe the listeners that are maybe kind of lost and they've started at a job and maybe, like those managers, they just got comfortable. But
Yes.
then there's like something deep yearning inside of them. They want more, but they're afraid to go out and take that step and go on their own.
Yeah. So one of my and I first off I would say mentorship. I would not be here today if I did not have mentors. And it's the difference between a unpaid mentor and a paid mentorship. So definitely if you don't have the money, definitely have an unpaid mentor. But once you have money to do mentorship, it's a tax write-off, especially now because of the big beautiful bill. We can write a lot off now because we are business owners. But yeah, so definitely mentorship. But one of my mentors told me, the more that you learn, the more that you earn. So as you are growing in your company or you're growing in your business, you being stagnant is really going to hurt you, especially now with AI. So like early on, the more that I knew, the more I wanted to know more. The more I wanted to know more. And then it's like a cycle. It's like that hamster, right? It's just that circle because like the more that you learn, the more that you earn. And when you make more money, you want to help more people because you see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
So then as you help more people, people are more successful, you're getting more referrals, you're not working as hard to get business, and then it just kind of keeps on going. So I would tell a person, whatever you want to do, hone into it and learn as much as possible. But after we learn, it comes a time where we have to learn from other people's mistakes, and that's mentorship. I had my own shift about 3 years ago where I was, doing very, very well. Right. But then once I started paying for a mentorship, because I had like 5 mentors before then, unpaid. So I called them once a month. They give me information. Like they would feed into me and tell me what to do, but they wasn't really kind of giving me it all. But like once I started doing paid mentorships, because it's their reputation, right? Because they have fulfillment. They don't want no negative reviews and you telling people how bad of a mentor they are. And number two, a mentor, like you pay with money. You pay with attention and you pay with money. But the biggest attention is money. So of course, it's not like a 1 year mentorship, right? If they're spending time, they want to make sure like a subscription that you pay them year after year after year. So I would definitely say after you learn from other people's mistakes, get you a mentor, and he or she can really help you get to the next level.
That's so good, and I totally agree. Are there any other ways that people can so mentorship, that's a big one, learn from others' mistakes, but in order to maybe take that next level up in regards to learning, like, are there any kind of ideas of stacked ways? Like, how can I get the most learning in the least amount of time? And are
Mhm.
there are there any other tactics outside of mentorship that you'd recommend to the listeners to get faster to that next level so that they can actually earn more and help more people, as you mentioned?
Yeah, yeah. So just from a tactic standpoint, like when I do audiobooks, when I look at podcasts, I know it's redundant, but it's just how I am. I don't do it on one speed. I do things with use like 1.5 and 1.75 speed, just so that it's just you absorb more information quicker, right? So that's a way for you to absorb more information over a quicker time period. That would be number one. Um, but besides that, like it's really tough. And so one of the things I hate doing, I hate like giving a person like kind of blanket advice, like work harder. If you work harder, you're gonna be more successful. No, that's not the case because people say you got to work smarter, not harder. But you could be the smartest person, and if you don't execute properly, you're the smartest person in the room, and it's not helping. So like to be honest, Mark, I don't want to kind of give a blanket, you need to do X, Y, Z just to kind of give a person fluff. I just know kind of what works for me, and what worked for
Yeah.
me, like I said, was learning, trying to learn as much as I could, and then once I thought I knew enough, having that mentorship, and that allowed me to
Yeah.
grow where I am today.
It's really good. You had mentioned that even if you're really really smart, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be successful. And it's interesting because I've hired a lot of PhDs and MBAs through the years, and they were wicked smart, like for
Mm,
book smart. But the challenge that I've found with them, and not in all cases, but in majority, just in my own we'll say experience, is that the limited amount of action once they knew what to do, the action wasn't there. And so this is where like I'm a really big proponent on like the one of the fastest way to learn is to actually, read what you can on it, but then take massive action very quickly. And the
mm,
best way the best way of learning is go out and do the thing really fast because then you'll have a reference like a Christmas tree, right? It's like you learn something, you don't really know to put it. And so I love your idea about speeding it up, the reading side of it. And then yeah, I mean, you can learn a lot. But you had mentioned, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get there. It's the one that can actually take action as well. Is that those guys are going to smoke them. And I mean, Elon Musk is a perfect example of that. The guy goes and blows up like four different machines, but he's learning really quick. He's not
yeah.
making the same mistake twice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you actually learn more with the experience than through books. So that's why, like, it's now I love me school. I can say the military and college was the two best decisions I made. I know some people like, well, don't do college, pay for mentorships. They'll teach you how to get there. Professors will teach you something that they don't do. That's understandable. But like, so I'm biased because I love college, to the point where I'm actually on my foundation board at my university where I help manage their endowment. That's how much I love my university.
Amazing.
Um,
Yeah.
but if you don't actually do something and actually try to implement what you learn, then you're just reading to be reading. And
Yeah.
which is a great segue because that's why I have my best-selling book, the Relaxed State. And literally, when I wrote my book 3 years ago, like that's what I wanted to show people, how to go through the decision-making process, but then at the end execute. So the R in relax is for research, right? Because you do want to learn, like you just don't want to just make a decision, like you want to kind of research. And then the E in relax is evaluate. You want to evaluate the pros and cons of that decision. The L is locate. And Mark, you love this about locate, right? Because location, 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 especially when it comes to real estate. The A is analyze. You want to analyze yourself. If it's a good decision or a bad decision, how will you feel about that decision? But most importantly, the X is execute, right? So if you go through that this decision making phase, rather be in business, in your personal life, and picking a car, and picking which credit card, and picking what CPA you're going to use, and picking what attorney you're going to use to trademark your business. If you go through that process, even if that decision is not the best decision, 5, 10 years from now, you still feel good about it because you went through that relaxed process. So to your point, you can read all the books in the world, but if you don't execute and go through the experience, then you're just wasting time.
Okay, so I just want to reiterate. So with the L being location, how
Mhm.
I just want to really hone in here. How so? Say okay, you evaluate, you research something, you evaluate what's the pros and
Mhm.
cons, and the location. Can you explain the location? And I love analyze and execute as well.
Yeah.
Uh, give me some context there for location.
Yeah. So I know you are a wizard when it comes to real estate. So with real estate, locations, everything, right? So if I said, "Hey, I want to get into the rental industry," right? I want to
Yeah,
fix and flip. So first, we research research why we should do it. We evaluate the pros and cons, and then the locate is locating, right? So if I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, is it cost efficient for me to do Jacksonville, Florida? Or in the north side of town or south side of town, or because the cost of living is higher here compared to, let's say, Indianapolis or Milwaukee, which was a hotbed for real estate right now. Would it be better location wise for me to get the biggest bang for my buck if I locate a rental property in Indianapolis or Milwaukee? So you locate, or if I want to pick a trademark attorney, right? I locate what's the best trademark attorney. Is it
got
one
it.
closer to me that might be less, might be more, but they're closer, or a person another side of the country that's going to be least expensive, but they kind of cover me what I want to do. So kind of locating that subject matter expert or that thing that you are trying to, trying to get.
This is great. I mean, this applies to any opportunity out there. Like there's yes, real estate for sure, but yeah, locate the opportunities, like research what, like the kids for today. This is a really good one. I'll probably give to I have 3 teenagers and
Oh,
our oldest
I'm
is
surprised you
17.
don't got gray hairs, Mark.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
the old wash when I do the haircut there kind of helps a little bit with that. So, but yeah, I love this because it's like if they're trying to figure out what to do, it's like go research a bunch of different opportunities and then evaluate which one which one actually talks to you the most, and then actually go locate an actual opportunity, like a tangible
Yeah,
opportunity, analyze it. Is this the right one? And then execute, take action. I love that. This is a very smart acronym. And so you wrote a
yeah,
whole, can you hold that book up again for us so we
yeah,
can take a look at that? Yeah. The
yeah.
Relax Investor. This is, that's smart. I really like that. And I see you trademark that. Very smart man for doing that. That's very good. But
Of course,
it
of
makes
course.
sense because it applies to all different opportunities, I think. And it's easy to miss one of those. And it's definitely for majority of people that execute, that last part of it is like you can't spell relax without that X there at the bottom, right? So
Yeah,
very
yeah,
smart. It's very smart.
yeah.
Uh, so now I just transition a little bit. So you're a host of Painful Profit. So it's a
Yes.
YouTube channel. Can you talk a little bit about what made you start that, and then some of the maybe fruit that's come from starting your own YouTube channel, and what it is that you talk about there on that channel there?
Yeah, it's just basically me and me talking to my clients on a day to day basis, right? So, and that's why mentorship is great because I thought it was so, and I used to brag about this, Mark, which is so totally stupid. If I think about it today, I used to brag. I said I don't get nothing, I don't get no business unless it's referrals. Like I'm only referral based. I didn't do any ads, I didn't do any social media, I didn't do any YouTube. And looking back, it's like Mario, that's the dumbest thing in the world. Like only referrals. It is so many people in America who would love to have you help them, that would love to have you reduce their taxes, love to have you invest their money, love to help you from a estate planning standpoint. Why you just take those referrals to little old Jacksonville? So my thought process is, how can I show the world at no cost how I'm able to help them and how I'm able to add value? And the least expensive way to do that is YouTube. Now, so when I started my YouTube channel now 2.5 years ago, a lot different. My background is a lot better than what it was. Cameras are a lot better. Microphones a lot better. I'm a lot more handsome than I were 2.5 years ago, right? So a lot has changed, but I basically wanted to basically tell people stories about my interactions with clients and what I do on a day-to-day basis to help people. Now, because I'm licensed, I'm a certified financial planner. I'm not just like this guy or gal on YouTube or Instagram just throwing up information that's just not accurate at all. I do have a fiduciary responsibility. So when we talk about individuals, it's I might say a person's name. So I might talk to a client named John, but in real life his name is Ralph. Or I might, we may have made him $50,000, but I sat we made on 40,000 because by law, as a certified financial planner, you can't use testimonials, right? You can't pay or have a client do a testimonial. So I tell stories that are 95% non-fictional, but then 5% fictional because we can't use real people's names and numbers. But it allows me to basically share information what I do on a day-to-day basis and to give value to people. And we've got business from that as well, which helps. So it's my way to give free information. It's no cost at all to be on YouTube, and been able to help empower people in a positive way.
That's amazing. And one of the things that I realized through the years as well is that one of the best ways, another great way of learning is actually by teaching. So for you actually prepping for the show and going through that, has that been helpful for you on like some of the stuff, like all the stuff you would know, but it's like when you have to do the research to be able to speak on it, you got to make sure that is anchored in deep. Has
Oh
that
yeah.
helped you with the learning curve as well?
Oh, heck yeah, heck
Yeah.
yeah! And now because of AI, I'm able to actually just make sure. what I'm saying is true, right? So crossroads. Hey, I told this client this. Is this correct? We talked about this PE ratio. Is this correct or not correct? So definitely from an education standpoint, using AI to give me checks and balances. Like the Bible, the left hand knows what the right hand is doing. So it gives me those checks and balances. And talking about AI for my business owners out there, if I give some advice from a technical standpoint, um, it is a great software that you can use called Fathom. Fathom. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Fathom, but its interface links directly to Zoom or to Google Meets. But the great thing about Fathom is that not only it records the conversations, before you have a Zoom or Google Meet with a client, it sends them permission if you can record it, so you're in compliance, because some people don't want their stuff recorded, right? And then if they don't do it, then it basically prompts you to ask them, can you record the conversation? So if you forget, you can ask them, and if so, then it'll record. It gives you a copy of the whole transcript. It gives you summaries of what you talked about. You can link it to your CRM systems, either Salesforce. I use GoHighLevel. It then gives you notes to give to your staff, automated, right? So if you say, hey, staff member, do XYZ for me, it creates a note and a task for them. But the best part about it is that it also emails that information or the conversation to your client. So your client can always reference back about something that you guys talked about. It's just better for everybody. And
Hmm.
my belief that it makes the conversations better, and also for clients, right? Even though I have clients I've been blessed to work with for almost 18 years, it was for 18 years, it's good to know that it's checks and balances. Because if we're just having a conversation, that's one thing. But if it's recorded conversation, they know I can't be blowing smoke up there, what, right? Because it's recorded. I could be held accountable, right? So I would definitely say, to make the conversations, in my opinion, better, and to have automated tasks to go to either you or your team members, use Fathom. And that's Fathom. So to answer that question, so when we're preparing our notes for what we're going to talk about that at nighttime after meeting with the client, I just go to Fathom. I look at the summary. What do we talk about? And then I change the numbers here, because again, by law, we can't use real people because I'm a fiduciary, right? So then that allows me to have a clean cut version of the conversation.
Mm, that's great. So this is a form or a it's a tool for productivity to help you, do more in less time. And we're going to flip over to AI, and this might be a good segue. Are there any other productivity tools that you've introduced into your business that have helped you accomplish more in less time? Outside of, again, I know what we're going to talk about that next, about with your bots, and because you
Yeah.
you have something that you guys have launched that is phenomenal, and we're going to talk about that for the business, but more so for the for the listeners out there, with AI now and the different tools. There's lots of them out there, but I'm curious, is there anything that has changed the game for you when it comes down to productivity?
Yeah, so Fathom has helped dramatically. Zapier, Zapier. If people are not familiar with Zapier is like, it's like the middleman. It's like the bookie. The bookie's always the middleman, right? It's the middleman between one system and another. And with APIs, you can have one system talk to another system, and you can create tasks directly from Zapier. So Zapier just kind of integrates everything. I think it's like I think we pay 300. We have enterprise. I think it's like $300 a month. I think the cheapest one is like $29. So very, very inexpensive, where you can have different systems talk to each other. So Zapier has been a real game changer. I talked about Fathom. We made the partial switch. We're not all the way there, because since we have a pretty large investment firm, we have client notes and files from literally 15 years. So I'm just kind of scared to move everything to one platform. But the change we made to GoHighLevel, I know some people use ClickFunnels. I'm more of a GoHighLevel fan, because you get to do a lot more from a CRM standpoint and GoHighLevel than you can with ClickFunnels. But GoHighLevel has allowed us to, which we'll talk about automation wise, but GoHighLevel has allowed us to do a lot of things automation wise. And to take it a step further, not checking anybody's pockets, but and again, mentorship is big. So like I was paying people on Fiverr here or there to kind of do tasks here or there. And my mentor about a year ago was like, Mario, what are you doing? Quit being cheap. He said, just think about not how much you're spending paying somebody on Fiverr, but how much it's costing you to explain a new person every month to do a task, and how much it's costing you after hours, instead of spending time with your family, spending time on your laptop to kind of work something out quicker. Just hire an automation specialist and have them do all the automation and technical support. When you say I have less, I got a couple gray hairs, but I have less gray hairs what I had a year ago because I have way more time to
Mm,
basically do things and run the business compared to the automation. Now, automation is great because it saves money, it saves time, it allows your staff to do more support and actually talk to the people instead of doing back end stuff. But now instead of spending a couple hours to hire a person and then explaining what I want and then creating new usernames and passwords and then deleting them once they're done. All that just monotonous stuff. I actually hired a full-time automation specialist who does technical support as well. And that has just been just a game changer from a time standpoint. And I know we'll talk about it, but I've literally not completely, but 80 to 85% of what we do is automated now. And prayerfully this time next year, 100%.
phenomenal. Now, just for the listeners out there that are maybe they're self-employed, it's just them. They haven't hired anybody. They're scared. Your mentor had said, "Don't be cheap. Like, think of the time that it's saving you, that
Yeah.
it'll save you by hiring somebody." You've seen a massive change in your business, but what
Yeah.
advice would you have for the listeners out there that maybe they're doing everything on their own, and
Hmm.
it's like for them to take that first step? What encouragement would you say to take that next step
Yeah.
and to be able to bring somebody on and hire them and go? We'll say to that next level in their business.
Yeah, yeah. So because of expenses, we always look at the cost, not the savings. When I say savings, I mean time and resources, not money out your pocket. So typically, it costs more money by not doing something compared to doing something. And also, it's the old adage, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, hoping to get a different result. Now, I know when you was doing the forecheck and checking people against the wall, it's insanity, right? But over time, you probably changed how you got on the ice. You probably changed how you hit people, and maybe you didn't
Yeah,
get penalties. I don't know. I don't know if he was the defenseman or an offense. I don't know, Mark. But
yeah, forward. Yeah,
anyways, oh, okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, so I know a little bit. I'm not Mario
yeah,
Lemieux,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah, yeah. But I say that to say you should definitely look at how much it's going to cost you. So if you have a budget, and that budget might be, I can't spend no more than $20 or $30 a month, or $20 or $30 a week. Look for a virtual assistant. And having that virtual assistant, have him or her be part time. We have many virtual assistants. Again, they're not paying me to do this. It's not a paid advertisement, but what we use onlinejobs.ph. So onlinejobs.ph. They're basically the LinkedIn of the Philippines. So they actually vet people. They do background checks for you. They have we pay $100 a month. I think they have like if you hire a person, it's like $9 to do the background check. But basically, like they help you with the hiring process. So instead of going through Fiverr, maybe hire you a part time virtual assistant, or if you have a task from a customer service standpoint, hire you a part time customer service standpoint. And after you see them helping, after you see how much time and resources that you save, then you hire him or her full time. But a lot of times, because I'm myself, I pinch pennies. Like I know a lot of times we pinch pennies and we look at the cost when really the cost of not doing it actually far exceeds the cost of doing it.
Yeah, that's so well said. It really is. Our very first hire, it was scary for us. Like we said, oh, we're only going to hire them for 30 hours, and that helped us. She never works less than 40. But what was interesting is we went from 38 sales doing, we'll just say, like running like my head was chopped off. Like we maxed out. I'm like, I cannot do any more on my own. And my wife Joanna was doing the marketing. This is for the brokerage business. We have the real estate investment firm as well, but went back like 17 years ago. And when we hired that one person, we went from 38 sales to 100.
Wow, just for
38
one
to
person.
100 with one extra person, one person.
Wow.
And then from there I was like all in. You didn't have to convince me. Then I saw it as if you, now what I don't tell too often is that we had actually hired somebody else that was a total flop for about 3 months and we had to let
Mhm.
them go before that. But we didn't
Yeah.
give up. But it was interesting. The story there is that she was actually really good. She was an assistant that had worked in my wife's business in the past, and we hired her. But between the time that she was excellent to the time that we hired her, she actually won the lottery. So the motivation was completely good. Her husband won the lottery. I guess she was still working for the fun of it, but there was no sort of motivation there the same way. But if you don't get it right the first time, I guess the moral of the story there, keep going. And then if you keep going, if you find the right person, it can be a multiple return on investment, not just like dollar for dollar. It can be a really big one and change your whole life. I mean, for you, it sounds like 80 to 85%. I mean, is automated. So you've not only you have staff and you have automation as
Yeah.
well. So this might actually be a really good segue now into you had this idea that AI was here, and now you maybe talk a little bit about that transition and how you've implemented AI into your business to be able to take it to the next level.
Oh, AI is it is our business. I mean, from like our intake form. So we have, depending on how a person wants to help, we help from the investment side or from the tax strategy side. We have an intake form. We use AI after we get off the phone with them. I type something into to my team. They hit a button, and then AI does the work. So then, not only did it work, but after we send out something, we have workflows where we, not bug them, but kind of tap them on the shoulder once every few weeks. Have you forgot about us? You need help, and then after like 3 months, then we send them a YouTube video I created just about kind of what they were looking to do. And then also, we send them, they're on our list of YouTube videos we send out to our clients every week. So until they hit stop or subscribe, they're in our ecosystem. Now, it might take 2 or 3 years for them to become a client. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Daniel Priestley. Are you familiar with Daniel Priestley?
No,
Yeah. So he's big in the space of like dripping and how you drip people, but he had it where in order for a person to become a client, they have to see you on 4 different platforms. So that'd be YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, right? 4 different platforms. See you 7 different times, right? So maybe twice on YouTube, 3 times, 7 different times, and then 11 different episodes. So maybe like 2 reels on Instagram and 9 long form things on YouTube. That basically gives a person the trust. So we kind of do the same thing from an automation standpoint. If a person gets referred to us, wants to get their information, we have the workflow for a whole year to build that trust. And it's been people that a year and a half later, call, say, hey, we talked a year and a half ago. I wasn't ready, but I follow you on YouTube, or I follow you on Instagram. I love the stuff with your family. Thank you. That's great. Okay, great. And then they become clients, down the road. So yeah. With those forms, we send it out. Once they sign the forms, it then automatically sends them, of course, a calendar link. They get it. It links to my calendar and then my staff's calendar, because when I'm on calls with all clients, we have a staff member on there as well. We have AI taking notes, but again, we're having conversations back and forth because we're providing service, and because of AI doing a lot of the back end stuff, we're able to have our staff members provide as much service as possible, with me or without me. So yeah, so it's huge. It's huge. We take the information goes to different sections in our forms as well. Not only do we get information, but we add value, right? So on all of our intake forms, we ask these wacky questions. What's your favorite food? Who's your favorite musician? And the reason why is because, and you think about this, Mark, right? Think about all of your professionals, your doctor, your lawyer that you use. Yeah, I know you got all that real estate. So you probably got 15 different accountants, 5 different financial advisors, everybody that you have. How many times do they send you something out the blue to say either thank you or do something for you that's about you, like happy birthday or your favorite recipe? So we ask a person who is their favorite musician, and we use AI to create a list. And basically, every 7 months, we send them a 20 track YouTube playlist of favorite songs. So out of nowhere, it could be a Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Oh, my financial advisor sent me my favorite songs. This different. He cares about me, right? AI does that. Favorite recipe. Every 5 months, we send different recipes. If you like fish, you're gonna get a salmon croquette, baked tilapia. Like we create different recipes, and we ask people when they're done to kind of show community with all our clients. We ask people whenever they make that dish, send it to us, and like on our monthly newsletter that's automatic with AI, and also our Facebook group with our clients. We then showcase those dishes. So now it's showing community. So even though we've been blessed to help thousands of people, people feel like they know each other because they're seeing the different recipes, and that just is more just community. And AI allows us to do that.
There's so much gold in what you just said there. Oh, okay. So first, I just want to dissect this Daniel Presley
Priestley,
breakdown
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Priestley, 4 different platforms, 7 different times, 11 different episodes. And so this is where, for the listeners out there running their own business, this is something that it really took me, we'll say, many, many years to actually get on camera. It took me a lot. I'm more of
mm,
an inward myself, and then for me, it was like, listen, if becoming known is the number one thing for driving a business, it's like, if as the leader of the company, the business needs you to do this if you want to take your business to the next level. And so that's where it's coming down to, like, conversations, learning. So that's one side, and then it's about becoming known as well in the best way. And I mean, you said it was with YouTube, but the building trust side of it that you just shared as well, that recipe that you shared in regards to building trust is massive. And so I'd say, like, for the entrepreneurs out there, if you're like me, it took a little bit, but you just start with one, and then you kind of slowly, the key there is to keep doing it, and eventually you get better. I'm still working on it myself, but I think that's such a powerful conversation to have. And it's like, I mean, Alex Hormozy is he is a perfect example of that. Mario, you probably followed him and seen what
of
he's been
course,
able to do within a few years. I mean, this guy sold a gym. He made a bunch of money, and then he wanted to get into the private equity space of buying companies, and he basically blew up just by by using social media, the organic
yeah.
side. He wrote a book as well, which is a big part of it. But that's massive. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And I'd say, for the entrepreneurs out there, it's definitely something, if you want to take it to the next level, it's a way to do it fairly inexpensively, and to do make major impact, especially over time as you get better at it. It can really catch wind very quickly as well. Has that been your experience of what you've been seeing?
Yeah, that and value, and again,
Yeah.
it goes back to mentorship. Like I've been adding value for my clients for years, but when I was really able to kind of pinpoint the value that they want, not just the fluff like that, it changed things. So like before, when I met with clients, with prospective clients, I kind of tiptoe what to give them, like kind of give them
Yeah.
some advice, but to kind of bring them the door. And again, one of my mentor, Myron, I don't know if you're familiar with Myron Golden. That's one of my mentors. He told me this. He was like, "You give them all the value you can up front." I'm like, well, but why? Like they'll just take my advice and go. He said,
Yeah.
well, that's a client that you don't want anyways. If they're going to steal from you, why would you want that client in the first place? Ah, he said, what happens is that once you give value, and it's for free, then they're going to think, man, for free, he's giving this information. How much more information is it if I pay? And people pay two different ways. They pay with attention and pay with money. But if you look, and I want you to do this, and everybody on this watching us, look at your bookshelf. Look at the books that you got for free and look at the books that you paid for. And you tell me which book did you read
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
It is it's a
100%.
lot it's a lot of great information in those free books. But those books that you paid for, you remember those because those are the ones that you read. Right. And so yeah, it's all about value. So when you lead with value, and again, of course, again, I like to show my example, right? So yeah, so like money is money. Money is money. $20, $100, same money, right? But we place value on this $100. Even though this paper might be a little bit thinner, it might not be as heavy, but we place more value on $100 than 20 because we look at value. So if you look at value, how much you can add to your clients, right? Doesn't matter if you're the smartest person, doesn't matter if you have 1 year experience or 18 years of me, like me having experience. But if you add value, your clients are going to pay you for that value, but you have to lead with value. Have to lead with value.
Love this. Love this. Now, how would you, for the entrepreneurs out there listening, how what advice would you give them to figure out what their clients see as value, so they're not just guessing? So, what how would you like? How would they go about figuring that out for their own business?
Yeah, I would say do a survey. And again, again something that like I've been rocking and rolling for a long time, but like really like that light switch of like helping people dramatically, my client wise, I think the past 3 or 4 years after the mentorships, as I continue to talk about. But like we never did a survey. Like I taught the clients were happy. Oh, I like you, Mario, and they refer me to people. So I'm thinking, yeah, they must like me. They refer me to people. That's good. But like what I thought people liked, I had no idea. Like I was a person, even though I'm a certified financial planner, I've been one since 2012. We didn't do tax strategies, right? Because I was like, well, I don't want to do that. That's a waste of time, waste of money. Like we didn't start actually doing tax strategies for clients until 4 years ago. And then after that, we seen like the inswell people wanted us to help them. We actually hired a internal CPA, and now we actually file taxes for people, right? That's something that if I did that 13, 14 years ago, I would have been in a lot better shape and my clients would have been in a lot better shape than what they are today, right? So do a survey and just ask, how can I help? What are some areas of opportunity you think I am lacking? Go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I do XYZ. These are the demographics of my clients. This is what I want to see, how I can help them. Build me a questionnaire. And then you create that questionnaire and send it to them. Hopefully, use AI like Zapier or GoHighLevel to give them reminders if they don't fill it out the first time, but send it to them. Or Typeform. Typeform is another one you can do as well, but send it to them, and then you use that information, analyze it, go back to ChatGPT and have it analyze it for you if you want to, and then that kind of pinpoints what your clients want. And then from there, add value, educate,
Mhm.
do a free seminar once a month about something we started doing like literally a year and a half ago, which I wish I did a long time ago. I did like stock market stuff, but now we do a first and third Wednesday of every month financial planning call with all my clients. And it's just crazy the questions that they ask. But for other clients, they might have that same question, but they was afraid to ask because they thought I was too smart or they were too dumb. So now we're building community. I'm showing my value to them. I'm getting more referrals because of it. So I turned that into a coaching program where for people who don't meet our investment minimum, but you still want me to add value more than my YouTube, my Instagram, pay $97 a month. You can ask all the questions that you want. And then that's leading people into now they don't meet my investment minimum, but they can now use our tax strategy, right? So you're paying $97 a month. I'm giving you all the value. You're seeing how I'm helping other people that have way more money or might not have the money that you have. You don't know. And then you want me to help you in other ways. That is how you help people.
Yeah, 100%. And this is where, I mean, you can even call your clients and ask them, this
Yeah.
for the survey side. Now,
Mhm.
I love what you're doing in regards to having like, every second week, you're actually having an opportunity for all of your clients to jump on a call, and you're basically teaching all of them with the first and the third of the month.
Mhm.
Now, how many people actually jump on? Because that like we in the real estate business, we have thousands of clients, right? And so I'm curious, is that something? Do you have something like that? You kind of pitch out there. Is there a certain percentage of your clients actually come to those? And it sounds like you've been
Yeah.
getting really good success. It's like ongoing teaching them,
Yeah.
open mic night, sort of, so to speak. Yeah,
The comedian. Nah,
yeah,
but yeah. So we have more people watch our replays. I mean, but between the investment firm side, the coaching side, and the relaxed estate planning side, we have about 1,400 clients worldwide. So I would say we have in between 50 to 100 people. So 5 to 10% that's live. But a lot of because it's at 12 o'clock noon time Eastern, right? So it works for me because I'm the one doing it, right? We do have a lot of people who are who do the recordings because with
yeah.
AI, 12 o'clock on Thursday. The next day, you get the recording. So you get it. So everybody gets it. So we see, because it's via Loom, and with the good thing about Loom, you can actually have it where whoever clicks it, you know who clicks it, so we can really see who's clicking the
Got
replay.
it.
So
Got it.
usually we have about 100 to 150 people that watch the replay. We have about 50 to 100 people that's live. So out of 1,400 people, between live and replay, we have about 20 to 25% that view it on the first and the third.
Oh, it's so good. It goes back to this idea that you've been talking all throughout the conversation is value. Value, value, value. It's like, how can I provide more value to my clients? And it's interesting, a lot of financial advisors just wouldn't they wouldn't do that and spend that
Yeah.
extra time because it takes time, prep time, and all the rest of it. But
Mhm.
50 to 100 people on at a time, I mean, that's still a lot of is that they're actually coming because a lot of times they'll sign up and we found is like a third of the people that sign up will actually come out. But if you're getting 50 to 100, those 50 to 100 people, this is what I really talk about quite a bit is that every person that you wow, they know 200 people, so the 50 to 100 people know 200 people each,
Mm.
those are all potential referrals if you do an incredible job for that person. And so this even applies for people that aren't your clients and maybe you rub them the wrong way and they don't like how you did something. Well, they're going to tell their 200 people the negative side of this as well. And
Yeah.
that's where I'm like, I tell my team members, are like, listen, when there's a problem, that's an opportunity to create a raving fan. Because if you take somebody's problem and you fix it and you go the extra mile and you do something above and beyond, that now they love you for life, right? But if
Yeah.
you do a poor job and they're going to look at you as like the enemy, and they're going to be a terrorist for your company. So like fix the problems, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So I love this concept.
And Mark, and so can I tell people like a mistake that I made as a financial advisor?
Please,
Right.
yeah.
So again, I've been a licensed financial advisor since 2007, been a CFP since 2012. I started my own practice in 2013. But like the mistake I made was that I just concentrated on stock market investing. And again, that's why if you guys have opportunity, get a mentor, please, please, please. It'll take you so much quicker, so much sooner, so much further, right? Like, so I was like, well, I don't get paid to tell a person to do real estate. I don't get paid to help a person with their taxes. Why do it? And what I've learned is that because of the value that you create for a person, your clients are willing to pay you. Like they want to pay a person that they trust. They trust me for their finances. They trust you in real estate. They trust you. So if you add value, they are willing to pay you. And what has happened is that my practice has grown dramatically because of it. So like we dive into real estate a lot. Like sometimes we actually talk about real estate more than stock market, because from real estate standpoint, you're able to do so much more from a tax standpoint, right? Cost segregation study. I love stocks. I love IRAs. We can't do that. Bonus depreciation, especially with the big beautiful bill, with bonus depreciation being 100% now. Like if I buy me a big old pickup truck to haul stuff from one site to another, it costs me $100,000. Even though I ain't spent 100,000, I get all $100,000 of tax deductions. I can't do that put into a SEP IRA because I can't take it out. I could borrow against something else, that I do a loan against. So like things of that nature, adding value takes you a long way. So like if I would have led into how can I help you, not just, hey, we're gonna do these stocks, you're gonna double the stock market, and everybody's happy. If I led into that, I'll be, again, I'm blessed, but I'd be in a way, way better position than where I am today. So all my financial advisors out there, all my certified financial planners, lead with value, but not just about the stock market. See what your clients really want and find a way to help them.
That's so good. It's so good. It's like because you're right. I mean, from a entrepreneur, it's like, well, that's not my business. I don't want to talk about that. But the client itself, if you're thinking, how can I provide a lot of value? What questions are going on in their mind? And if you can solve kind of all the above when it comes down to investing, like tax, accounting, like legal, all the rest of it, and you can have conversations and teach them about that and be the go-to quarterback.
Mhm.
Now you provided so much value that whenever you have any sort of offer, they're like, "Oh my goodness, like this is my guy. Of course, I'm gonna go with you." So that makes a lot of sense to me. And obviously, the numbers for you, it's been a game changer since you started just doing investing in the stock market to now you're doing an array of conversations where you're providing value. Maybe you're not even getting compensated, but you are getting indirectly compensated because you're adding value and you're stacking your credibility up as well.
Definitely. And again, because of AI and scaling, right? Scaling like we are to the point now where we did hire, like I said, that internal CPA, and we actually have an outside CPA firm that we actually hire to actually file taxes. So it went from adding value, doing strategies, then seeing if we can be compensated for the strategies, and now being compensated for the strategies as well. And for the clients, they love it, right? Because they have me as a tax strategist, but from a checks and balances standpoint, we do have that outside firm that actually prepares and files the taxes. So we have an internal CPA that can have conversations with me, but then we have that external CPA to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do. Because we might think it's a strategy and you can do it, but then the CPA that's liable because they're filing your taxes, Mario, we love you,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
maybe not so much, right? So it actually gives clients that it makes them feel good because it's checks and balances as well. Like if
Yeah.
they just go to the regular tax professional, it's no checks and balances. We're like whatever he says or she says goes. But you have me, you have an internal CPA and an external CPA. So it's more checks and balances there as
Yeah.
well.
No, it's so good. I mean, where I see like a huge value for what you're doing, massive value, is with most accountants. I found in my own experience, I need to be the one bringing up, "Hey, what about this? I checked out this. What about that?" And you're bringing up ideas. And they're like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, we could do that." It's like, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" Right? Like, no. Now, to be
Yeah.
fair, they have hundreds of other clients, and they're getting through. They got to get through their workload as well. But what you're doing is you're actually like charging ahead, and you're scoping out every opportunity, and you're basically teaching your clients that so they're educated. So when they go to your go-to person, not only do they know those tactics and the strategies as well, but the clients know as well, so that the clients are actually they're that much further ahead than if they just work. If you just made a referral to somebody, now they're not only educated but they have a contact and they're going to take advantage of these items.
Yeah, and to your point, and to kind of go back what I talked about before about like relationships, and I didn't say it, but like I always say like ROI. People say ROI is return on investment. Me, ROI is relationship over independence, right? So I have a few clients that are CPAs, and actually I paid them and said, hey, can you just break down how you run your business, right? And I paid them both of them 2 hours of their time to do so. They would have did it for free, but again, I'm adding value, but your time is valuable, so I'm gonna compensate you for your experience you're giving me. And I found out, it's not a secret, but it is a secret. Most CPAs, they don't want to do the tax strategies because their job, their fiduciary responsibility is make sure that you file your taxes and you pay on time. That is their two
Mhm.
responsibilities. If they don't do that, then they can get their license stripped. They can be fined. They can have their E10 number, suspended for 6 months to a year. So even though tax strategies is good for us, the in-game consumer, it's not good for them. So because of that, because they don't get really paid for it, and that's not their scope, they're not concentrating on the strategy. So even though they know it, they don't lean in to that. They lean in with how can we get you a refund, how fast we file your taxes, what all we need, how to make your tax filing experience easier, but they don't lean in with the savings. And I learned that from talking to clients and paying them for their time, even though they're my clients, and I've made them both hundreds of thousands of dollars, but still learning that. But if I didn't have that relationship with those CPAs, and if I was just independent thinking I know what people want from a tax standpoint, I'd have been completely off base. So another thing, acronym, I'm all about the acronyms, ROI, relationship over independent.
Amazing. So Mario, how do you stay on top of all these new bills, different, we'll say, initiatives that come in to make sure that you are at the cutting edge of tax strategy? Because there's a lot out there. I mean, if you go to the code, the tax code, I mean,
Mhm.
it's a big, thick, massive book. So how do
Yeah.
you make sure that you're always ahead of things so that what you're talking about, is accurate?
Yeah, so I have an internal CPA.
Yeah.
Part of her job is to just research, and YouTube University. You know, I definitely spend most of my time not Netflix and chilling, not watching basketball. Like I'm really, or my thing is football. Go Bucks, go Bengals. But I know y'all Jaguar fan. It's funny because I had 5 clients that are Jaguars. They are retired now, so I don't know the Jaguars like I used to 5 years ago. But yeah, like so I spend all my spare time just learning. I told them before, you learn to earn. So I definitely spend a lot of my time on YouTube. Is people that I follow that are way smarter than me, that are way successful than me, or people that's not as successful, but I think way smarter than me. And I just learn, learn, learn. When I'm on social media, I'm not scrolling, looking at just pictures. I'm scrolling to get information. So I use social media, but I
Got
use it
it.
from an educational standpoint, not from an entertainment standpoint.
Yeah. So good. So good. Now, these workflows that you had said earlier, are there certain programs outside of like ChatGPT that you would recommend to the listeners to build their workflows out for automation in their business?
Yeah, go high level. Nothing against Salesforce. But, Salesforce has been good to me for all these years. But go high level is the best of both worlds. You have click funnels, people that like to do click funnels and things of that nature. You have that and a CRM system all in one. So go high level, GHL. That's what we use. And now again, not a endorsement because they ain't paying me, but now they actually have call bots. So before we was using a company called Sales.ai, which is a great company, a great company. They're based in Indianapolis. Great company. They basically created a call bots for us, where if a person went to our website, if we can't answer the question, then
Amazing.
a bot calls them. But now you can do everything internal with Go High Level. Another third party called Closebot, 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 that you can use as well. But if you have Go High Level, it's all there internally. So you have one website that does everything: practice management, your bots, and also workflows. And it's only $97 a month. If you have one business, it's $97 a month. So I mean, it's very
Amazing.
very inexpensive.
Mario, you're so knowledgeable when it comes down to the investing side, tax strategy. For the listeners out there, they have thousands of different opportunities to invest money. What I know it's hard to give overarching advice when it comes to investing, right? Because everybody's in a different if you're retiring compared to if you're just starting out, you know, cash flow not do you have but any overarching, we'll say, investing advice that you would have for the listeners that
Yes.
if there was one piece of advice that you would give, what would it be out there?
Yeah, two, because two is better than
Yeah.
one.
2, you got it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So first, you want to be a futurist, meaning that you don't want to look at what happened 5 years ago, what's today. You want to look at what's happening 5 years from now and invest in those companies, right? So like Peloton, um, war, and I mean, again, I'm military, but I don't like war. War is not like what it was 10, 15 years ago, nevertheless 30 years ago. But companies like Peloton that's making war more cyber, where it's not boots on the ground, drones and things of that nature. Defense contracts never go away. That's why Peloton is up so much this year. I think Peloton is going to be one of the largest companies in the world in the next 5 years. Right, right now with President Trump, he is big on nuclear. Nuclear, the past 10 years have been horrible. It's nuclear refitting companies like Oculo, like New Space, that are growing dramatically because of some of those things in the future that's going to happen. So you want to be a futurist. You want to look at problems that we're going to have in the next 5 years, and those companies that solving those solutions, invest in them today. So the next 5 years, you get all the growth. That's number one. Number two, anybody that invests, we use it for our clients. You can do it if you want to, but it's called the shadow method. Very, very easy. I recommend the shadow method, which means for us, 70% of our clients, they're in index funds, right? When the market goes up, they're making money, which is great because you can see everything. When the market goes down, that's when it gets dark. When it gets dark and the market's trending down, we sell those index funds, right? And then those index funds have stocks inside of them. So those futuristic stocks that are going down, we know we're going to go back up. When the market kind of hits the bottom per se, then you buy those stocks inside that index fund, right? With the because again, 70% index funds, 30% stocks. So those 30%, you buy those stocks that are down because we know when the light shines again, and you can see that shadow again, right? Because the light's shining, then those stocks that are futuristic stocks, they are going to go up more than the index. So if you use that model, the model that we basically use, you should not guarantee, and past performance does not guarantee future results, but if you use that model, you should outperform the market. Like
Mm.
for us this year, our conservative portfolios are up over 20%. Our aggressive portfolios are up over 40. We're quadrupling the stock market in some cases, just using that shadow method with the futuristic stocks I talked about. And last thing, just as a bonus, sprinkle me, baby, in the words of E40, you want to use the fear and greed index. It's on CNN. I'm not being political, but CNN has the fear and greed index. Historically, when people are more greedy, that's when it signs that the market is at the top. And more greedy is 75 to 100. When people are so pessimistic, when the fear and greed index is at 25% or lower over 6 months, the market averages 8% up, right? Happened this year. February, before Trump talked about the tariffs, the fear and greed index hit 74%. It went down for 2 months. It went down to 19% on Liberation Day, April 2nd. Since then, the QQQ, which is a NASDAQ, is up by 18%. If you followed that fear and greed index, you would have doubled the market like we have. So those are three things.
Oh, love that. And you go to CNN to find out that index there.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
CNN or just Google fear and greed index. It'll take you to
Yeah.
CNN.
Oh, that's so good. The great advice overall. I love this futurist. Like, look in the future as to what we're going to need and invest in that. And I think that makes a lot of sense. That's even for me. It's like we're seeing now in the multifamily space, we're by these large apartments, and we see that it's becoming harder and harder to have home ownership. And so
Mm,
we've seen the renter, the profiles. They're that segment's growing immensely. And so home ownership's getting harder and harder out there. And so now we're buying these multifamily 100-unit apartment buildings. And that market, there's that customer base is continuing to grow. So we're buying ahead of that, knowing that there's going to be more and more demand for that moving forward. So that ties in really well on that future outlook and that futurist, the way that you put it. I like that word.
Hey, Mark. So I have just a side question. Real estate, like,
Yeah.
um, about 3 or 4 years ago, it was a big push towards 3D printing and 3D creating 3D houses. I haven't heard about that anymore. Like, is that something that was like a fad, or do you think that's going to be something over time that's going to really be in reality?
Yeah, so I know there's been talk about it, like more about these prefab properties where they do develop the land and then they basically come and drop these kind of cube like buildings. Well, the problem is that the overall cost still for material is quite high, and
Mm,
so the ability to build it, at much lower price it's tougher. And then also right now they're still working at the kinks with like more of that longer term. Does this material last longer term? And so they're still working at the kinks on that, but there hasn't been like a major breakthrough that I've identified
okay.
that will pace these 80s to like 2000 vintage that we're buying. We're buying them at well below replacement cost. So, will they come up with better ideas? I think moving forward they have to. And a big part of that is like the permitting fees that the cities are charging. I think they have to reduce that to bring down the cost. But material costs, they need to figure out a different solution to help with that. But I still think at the end of the day, what we're seeing is that the more less and less people have the down payment to actually go in and put that down on a property. They're living paycheck to paycheck. So,
Mm.
all right. Well, listen, we can keep going here. I did commit to you. We're going to finish. I got three last questions, quick questions here, and then we're going to wrap up. First one is the book, your favorite book that's made the biggest impact in your career.
Ooh. This is gonna be funny. 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because it's like the American success story. Like here's now, of course, entertainment plays a big picture. Like, here's a person that was like down on his luck. Everybody counting him out. His dad didn't know his dad. His mom got killed in front of him, and like just like the perseverance, like he's gonna either get rich or like die trying. Like it's a wonderful book. So yeah, so I would recommend that book.
Love
It
that.
is 50 Cent, but I mean he's almost a billionaire, so he's doing something right. But yeah, like that's
Cool.
my motivational book. 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
Perfect. Three words that best describe you.
Energetic. My wife would definitely say that. Um, trustworthy. And the third word, energetic, trustworthy, go getter.
Yeah.
That's like a dash, but yeah,
Yeah. No, no, I get
whatever
that. That
word
sounds
is go getter, but that's yeah,
yeah.
go getter. Yeah,
No, you take action, massive action taker. I see that.
yeah.
Excellent. Well, this has been like a phenomenal, phenomenal conversation. What's the best way that the listeners can get in touch with you and learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, yeah. My YouTube is free information. We like to drop 5 videos a week. Painful profits. So at Payne, PAYNE profits, because our profits can be painful, but they're profits. So my YouTube is at Painful Profits. Also, my Instagram at Painful Profits as well. PAYNEFUL profits. Those are the best ways to get in touch with me. See my content, and preferably we'll give you information that will help you in your finances.
Mario, thank you so much. This was such a treat. I mean, time just it just flew by. Looked up. I'm like, holy
Yeah,
gee. So
yeah.
this was a phenomenal conversation. So much value, and I know that's what you're all about. But I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Peace. Y'all be blessed.
Right on. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed the show, please share and subscribe to the channel. We're building a community of up and coming entrepreneurs. Now, if you're looking to invest into real estate, go to fulloutinvesting.com and learn a little bit more about our 10-step full out investing process. Remember, guys, one of the fastest ways to build wealth is to grow your business and invest into real estate. I love you guys.